We've got, thank you. I forgot to tell you, I'm sorry, Miss Rosie. We have a small crowd, but that's okay. Others may be joining us later. This isn't really a request for a rezoning, but more of an informational piece. So I am going to, this is dealing with the flats of Hickory Hollow. I am actually going to go ahead and turn it over to Mr. Bullitt and let him go ahead and get started and explain to you what's going on.
Awesome, thank you so much.
Oh, and I'm sorry. Sometimes I forget this. I've got to say, so that everybody knows, thank you so very much to Miss Rosie, who is behind so many different things and getting this up for us. I always have to pay homage to her because she is the one that does all this and gets it all straight. So Ms. Rosie, thank you.
You're welcome.
And Mr. Bullard, now I'm going to turn it over to you for the informational piece. And I will say he will give you all the information and there'll be a little bit of time if there are questions at the end. But like I said, this is not a rezoning request. All right, there you go, sir.
Awesome. I always like to make sure everyone can see my screen. If you have problems seeing this or have issues with it, please let me know and I'll try to modify. But again, my name is Tab Bullard. With me today is Jay Compton. Together, we are 2 of 3 people that represent the Zimmerman Properties family of businesses in the Southeast. And our responsibility is to cover finding unique and opportunistic development sites in the Southeast, Georgia, Alabama, North or South Carolina, and Tennessee. In Tennessee, we've developed right at 7 properties. We've got 2 more in the hopper. Flats of Hickory Woods, which you're here to discuss today, is one of those. The other one is a deal up in Springfield, Tennessee, Robertson County, very similar to this development. But we appreciate Councilwoman Lee setting this up for us so we can meet a lot of the community and let you all know kind of what we're planning, give you a little timeline update, and have you all ask any questions of us, and we'll provide you clear and transparent answers. And if you have any follow-ups, we'll provide our contact information at the end of this for you to do so. So with that, I'll jump into our presentation that Jay put together for us, and we'll get going. So again, Flats at Hickory Woods. This is an informational session for the members of that community that are represented by at Metro Council by Councilwoman Lee. Again, we're Wilhoit Properties, or Zimmerman Properties, with a sister management company named Wilhoit Properties. We're a multifamily housing development company, vertically integrated. And what that means is we are the developers, the constructors, and the long-term owners and operators of this development. So the companies that I represent for you today, these are the members that are going to be part of this community for 15, 20, 30 plus years. So we hope that you can have a peace and understanding in knowing that if there is a problem, you have a contact person that's on your side to make sure that we resolve any issues. But we manage multiple projects across 14 states, and we're active in the community, and we're very engaged with the community. So
Tab, let me ask you to explain why you are coming to us so that there won't be any misunderstanding, because you were not requesting a rezoning, correct?
Correct.
So please explain how you are before us so everybody will know what's going on.
So we're before you today just to provide information about a development that we hope to break ground on in March or April of 2022, and we anticipate it taking about 14 to 16 months to construct and complete and place it in service. So we just want to provide this information to you all, let you see what we're developing, ask any questions of us, and then we'll be proceeding with Councilwoman Lee to get our final permits and approvals in place so that we can secure financing for the development and close, like I said, in March or April of 2022 with our financing partners.
So in other words, the okay to start this and to do this was already done sometime back. That's the piece that I want you to explain about.
So for people who live in the area, this is an overview of the site, 4211, 4207 Murfreesboro Pike. So we are right on the border of Davidson and Rutherford County. We bought this property a couple years ago from the Bonds family, Mr. Bill and Mr. Don, who are on the call today. And this development will be situated behind frontage property that the Bonds family has retained, directly across from the Life Care Center of Hickory Woods and the senior community, and adjacent to the Matco facility. So this is where the property is located. And we'll kind of give you a larger view here of where the site is, just for those who might not live right in this area.
And what is it currently zoned?
This site was zoned back in 2006 to SP. And what SP stands for is site plan. And it was part of a multi-parcel rezoning undertaken by the landowners and Metro Planning Department. And it was intended to create a master plan for the Laverne, Pikeville, Couchville, Murfreesboro Pike area for all the undeveloped land, kind of as you're coming into Davidson County from Murfreesboro. And so there was a lot that went into that. There were many community meetings, and there were many requirements that were set forth in that zoning. And many of the uses include commercial uses, single family uses, and multifamily uses. And what we're proposing is a multifamily use that was designed under the guidelines of that SP plan that was passed back in 2006. So this was something that was done many years ago, and this is just part of the plans to bring a portion of that forward and hopefully spark additional development in the area. Does that kind of cover, Ms. Lee?
I think so.
Okay.
I was looking, I think there was one, I think that there was one question in the chat. So since there are two of you, if one can make sure that they're looking at the chat as well when the other one is presenting. But thank you.
Yeah, I can, I'll handle the chat. Thank you for letting me know.
Yeah, so Jay will handle that, but as indicated, the site is zoned and was zoned in 2006 to SP, site plan, under the UDO. And we've worked extensively with Metro's planning department to make sure that our design, our infrastructure, our stormwater plans, water and sewer tie-in connections all comply with city regulations for public works, Metro Water Services, planning, permitting, and building as well too. So we've been through that process, and it took quite a long time. If anybody's involved in the development industry, Metro is a very active and swamped planning department in the U.S. In 2017, they did about $4 billion worth of permits, and they forecast that continuing for the next, for 10 years through 2025. So many of you that live in that area have seen the growth in downtown Nashville and around. And as you can imagine, getting involved with such a small project, with such a large planning department, you can get kind of lost in the weeds, if you will. And then also some of their planning requirements, especially as we're so close to Hurricane Creek, they get updated constantly. And we got thrown a few wrinkles through the permitting process, which we were able to adjust and adapt to. So that's kind of where we're at and why this deal has been taking so long for us to get permitted. Moving on with the presentation, just a little bit more specifics about our development. This is 88 units of 2 and 3 bedrooms targeting families. They'll be dispersed throughout 4 buildings. We'll have 44 2-bedrooms and 44 3-bedrooms. And these are very large units as well too. So it's about 1,300 square feet for the 2 bedrooms. Those are 2-bedroom, 2-bath, and about 1,400 square feet for the 3-bedroom, 2-bath. Some of the amenities that we'll have, and we'll show you the site plan here, will cover picnics, playgrounds, and inside of the buildings, we'll have some other amenities such as clubhouse, leasing office, fitness center, business library, or business center and library and community space. We will have 2 full-time on-site property managers and 2 full-time on-site property maintenance individuals. And our rents are going to range from $775 a month up to $1,250 a month. So we think these are very affordable rents for the community. that will serve a lot of the working class families for that area. In general, here's our site plan. This is oriented to where north is on the right-hand side of your page. So the top-hand side is west, to the left is south, and to the bottom is the east. As I indicated before, we're buying the back portion of this development, and there will be out parcels. For people that are familiar, the Bond family has lived on this property for generations, and they've retained a lot of the single-family homes that front Murfreesboro Pike. Those will stay there until the Bond family moves forward with either self-developing or finding a developer to develop some commercial uses for it, or other uses that are already allowed under the SP plan. But what we will be doing with our development is we'll be putting in a lot of the infrastructure, and that infrastructure will provide a lot of traffic control measures in order to also provide service of water and sewer utilities to the overall development. So our ingress egress point, or our main driveway, if you will, it is situated directly across from that life center at Hickory Woods. So people will be kind of fairly, coming in and out of Murfreesboro Pike is the same as the people across the way. You'll go past those frontage parcels and into our development where you can see these 4 bedrooms. Sorry, let's see. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 residential buildings, and in these 2 residential buildings are where we have our clubhouse and leasing office space in here, and then we'll have business center and fitness facility areas in this area here, and then towards the back of the property, away from the traffic, is where we'll have our covered picnic pavilions and our tot lot and playgrounds. So it's all set way back off of Murfreesboro Pike, as to not present harm to the people that may have kids living there or people that are enjoying it and won't be really visible entirely from Murfreesboro Pike. So what you'll see is really clean, modern, kind of urban style facades for multifamily. And then all of the parking will be behind those residential developments and a little bit to the side, but that was all as required under the SP that we were able to design to. We'll also be doing some improvements along Murfreesboro Pike, such as creating a left turn lane into our property. There's already a left turn lane into the Life Center. So we'll actually be improving traffic conditions at our intersection, providing people a safe left turn into our property as to not back up the 2 northbound lanes of Murfreesboro Pike. And then we'll also have a decel lane that enters into our property from the north, also as to not clog up Murfreesboro Pike heading south towards Rutherford County. Let's see. For unit plans, as I indicated before, these are very large, open, and spacious unit plans. Sorry for all the dimensions on here. The tower architects like to draw them sometimes, but basically when you come into the unit here, you've got a huge open dining area and kitchen area. We will be providing washers and dryers free to the residents. That will be owned and maintained by the property. We'll have all Energy Star utility appliances within the development, and all the water fixtures will be low flow so that we're providing the most sustainable development possible in this area. So this is our 2-bedroom units. They're over here, but each have access to their own bedrooms. And as we go to the 3-bedroom, you can see again a very large kind of living area with a dining room, kitchen, and then you come into the property from this area. You got a mechanical closet, washer and dryer. You've got your master bedroom kind of situated off by itself, off of the main living area, and then you got basically your kids' bedroom side by side and access to a bathroom that is close by so that the kids have close and convenient access. Landscaping was a big part of our design parameters with Metro and their permitting and site plan development department. So we'll have over 175 trees and shrubs that line the main access drive coming off of Murfreesboro Pike, and then in and around the site. We're doing a lot of screening of mechanicals. So like our HVAC condensers, you won't really see those. Those will be behind semi-transparent, well, not transparent, but wooden slatted enclosures so that they're not visible from Murfreesboro Pike or this east-west road that goes between our property and the Bonds family properties. Japanese maples, birch trees, dogwood trees. Those are types of trees that we're going to have on site. Everything's going to be sodded, fully irrigated. We have on-site property maintenance that will be taking care of all the landscaping. We'll contract with landscaping companies to make sure that perennials and annuals are updated and replaced to make sure this property is looking nice and clean. And then we've got 2 ponds on site. Those ponds are stormwater management ponds. And those are major aspects that took a lot of like planning and designing around with Metro. Again, if anybody's developed with Metro, stormwater is a major issue throughout Davidson County. So it took us a while to get those aspects designed. We actually also have underground stormwater retention within our parking lots. So these are all a lot of modern features where we're reducing the current runoff, stormwater runoff of the site, less than what it is right now. Moving forward, this is our main access drive I mentioned before. And as you can see, the plans are to put very nice young trees in that will over time grow into very kind of historic looking trees that really serve the area and provide a great entryway into the site. And just kind of give you a visual feel of what it all looks like. So everything that you see colored or highlighted in green is what we will be developing and what we will be bringing to the development by the time it's completed. And then these white patches up here will be the existing single family homes. But at some point in time, we look forward to what the Bonds family figures out to do with those developments, either from a commercial or other type of use allowed under the SP. Renderings, these are some concepts that our architects have kind of put together to show what it would look like. And so these darker gray areas are brick facades, brick or stone facades that will be a part of our overall development. And then everything else will be hardy plank. We don't do any vinyl in any type of development that we do. We want very low maintenance, very efficient materials on all of our sites and all of our properties so that they look just as good 15 years from now as they did 2 years after we developed and placed it in service. So here are just a few more renderings that I think you all have seen that we shared with Councilwoman Lee previously. Current status, as I indicated, zoning is in place. It was approved in 2006. Zoned SP specific plan and mixed use is allowed. This was done back in 2006. We've gotten the site plan approved by Metro. We had to work out some easements with our property owners to the southeast equipment share to be able to access stormwater and sewer. That took us about 8 months to kind of work out with them. They're a construction company, so as you can imagine, they're extremely busy. So getting them to focus and work out that easement with us, it honestly, we started reaching out in March and we got it resolved late last month. So the next steps for us is now that we've got those easements in place, we're submitting a buildable plat. That's been submitted. We're waiting for it to be recorded. Once that is recorded, then we can revise our plat, get it submitted. The easement is getting recorded. Once that is recorded, we can modify our plat, submit it to Metro so that they can give us a buildable plat to release our land disturbance permits. And then that will also allow them to start reviewing our architectural and MEP plans. MEP means mechanical engineering and plumbing, or mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. And we envision that taking about 2 months to complete through the process. But like I indicated, site plan's been approved, the land disturbance permit's been approved. We just don't have a buildable plat yet because the easement was holding us up. Again, end of this year, we've got everything submitted. First quarter, we hope to have everything finished on the plan review and be able to pull permits, finalize our financing, and set to close at the end of March, early April 2022. And we anticipate it taking, again, about 16 months to build. So you're looking around October 2023 that this will finish. We'll start pre-leasing probably sometime in the summer of 2023, maybe July, August. If we have a building placed in service that we can open up our leasing office, we'll do that one first. Otherwise, we'll look for some retail space in the area and we'll start marketing the property to the community and to the residents that might have an interest in living in our property. And then we anticipate a very short lease up due to the high demand of the people that qualify and maybe living in substandard conditions or maybe paying more rent than they should be. So we're hoping that we're providing a good quality asset to the community at an affordable rate that'll be attractive to the many people that already live in that community. So I hope I've answered many of your questions beforehand, but if there are anything else that you all want to know about us, who we are, what we're doing, we're here for you. We're here for this community. We thank you, Councilwoman Lee. We thank you to the Bonds family for working with us so many years ago. We apologize for the delay, but we honestly hope to get this project moving forward as soon as possible and look forward to hearing from you all.
I do have two questions. And I saw something, and I was looking back for it. I didn't see it again. So my two questions are, is the swimming pool removed or is that still in there? And this looks like the plans for an area that I know in downtown Nashville, and it has a restaurant connected with it. So were you all looking to connect a sit-down restaurant with this in the area?
No, we're not planning any commercial use within our development. This will be 100% multifamily. So in this section right here, this is our fitness center and business center. And then actually on the, kind of getting disoriented on where this one is. Yeah, this is coming into the property. This is our fitness center and business center. And then on this side will be our clubhouse and leasing office. So those are the only two components that are not residential rental within this development. And very early on in the process, we did plan on having a pool, which is kind of what this area was. And some of the renderings we had sent to you early on did show a pool, but those were done in 2018. And as we were making changes for stormwater management concerns from Metro, we had to make a lot of concessions, which was giving up 4 units, decreasing the size of one of the buildings and getting rid of a lot of impervious areas that we had planned for the site. So due to the restrictions of the development, we did have to remove some site amenities that impacted our stormwater management plan.
Other questions, anyone?
There are a lot of questions in chat.
Okay. Who was looking at the chat with you, Tab? He might want to go ahead and read those off so you all can answer that in the chat room.
Yes, so Jay has been answering most of them. I'm reading through them all now. The parcel number.
You may want to do some of them out loud too, so other people.
Okay.
In case.
So we were asked what's the zoning under the UDO. We told them it's the SB specific plan. We were asked what are the parcel numbers by Mr. Stern. This is a subparcel of what was once 5 parcels. So as this buildable plat gets finalized, we will be issued our own separate parcel for tax ID purposes. We own the land right now, the proposed subparcel in the back. The Bonds family retains ownership of all of the parcels up front, which include, and Mr. Bonds, Mr. Bill, or Mr. Don, please correct me, I think you got 2 residential homes, a barn, and some vacant land. There might be 3 residential homes, but I think that's what's all along the frontage right now.
Can we ask questions?
Oh, absolutely. I was just going through the list as Councilwoman Lee had, but I'll pause right here and you can ask a question.
Okay, well, I live in Hickory Woods and we've got a little over 550 homes in here. And right now, that is a traffic nightmare currently. And when you dump all of that back into it, it's going to be ridiculous. You know, we dump, well, like I say, we've got 550 homes, and then Hickory Woods Estates is behind us, and they've got a bunch of homes, and now they built another big subdivision at the end of Hickory Woods Drive. So we're going to be dumping over 2,000 cars right into Murfreesboro Road there every day.
From Hickory Woods, the road just to the southeast of the senior center, the senior
Right.
development?
Yes.
Understand. So this is about 300 feet to the northeast. I'm sure you know exactly where it is.
I do.
And some of the things I had indicated, and I hope you can see this on our site plan, is we'll actually be for our development implementing plans that should lessen the impact we can't fix the current problems for Murfreesboro Pike right now, but what we're doing with this new turn lane, it should alleviate any impacts from our development coming into the area. And then also with this decel lane, anything coming south, it has a dedicated turn in. So this is a stop sign. It's not a stoplight for people coming left and people turning right. And then we have a dedicated turn lane for people coming to the north, turning into our development, and a dedicated turn lane for people coming south into our development. So we should be able to get people in and out of our development relatively quickly. Well, getting out will depend on what's there currently. So if it's backed up, they're going to have to wait their turn. But the way that we have this laid out, the backup's going to occur on our property. It's not going to occur on Murfreesboro Pike, and people will have to wait their turn to get in the queue to get out. So we hear your concern and we respect it. Unfortunately, there's not anything we can do about what's happening to the north of us across Murfreesboro Pike.
The problem on Murfreesboro Pike is the traffic light right across the county line in Laverne. That backs up the Murfreesboro Road. It backs it up. It backs it up for at least a mile. So you start dumping, 88 more cars out. I don't know.
Mr. Bullard, how far are you from the existing traffic light next to the gas station?
I think we're about 500 feet from there. I will do some measurements on my computer and give you more precise, if that's what you would like.
I'm wondering if there's some way for you to tie into that traffic light rather than being across from Hickory Woods, because the comment that it's not going to affect traffic more on Murfreesboro Road, I do not believe is accurate, having worked at that facility there and tried to pull in and out several times a day.
I understand, and we tried our best to work with Matco, the property to our northwest that has access to that light, and they were not willing to entertain us tying into their driveway to have access to that control measure. So we did everything we could. We offered easements. We offered to pay for easements with them, and they just said, "I'm sorry, we're not going to do it. Don't call us." The Bonds family were so gracious to even try and get in touch with them and see if they could talk to them for us, but they weren't willing to talk to any of us about connecting there. So we tried. We wanted to. We knew that would be best for the community, but we can't make people do something that they don't want to do, unfortunately. Well, no, I'm going to say fortunately.
So what you just said, what you just admitted, is that it's going to be a traffic problem, and therefore you tried to find the more reasonable way to work on it, and they weren't willing to play ball. And I understand you don't hold power over them, but that is an admission that it's going to be a traffic problem. Have you looked at some other alternatives? Is there any option for another traffic light, or maybe a staggered traffic light or something like that?
So I apologize, but I will respectfully disagree. I don't think we've done a traffic impact analysis for this. We don't think we'll have a detrimental impact. We understand that if you add one car, it is an increase, but our traffic activity happens within a certain amount of time, and some of it happens off hours, because the people that will be hopefully living here, they may have different schedules than everybody else, not going to school, or they're not going into downtown Murfreesboro. We don't know where people are going to be working that live here, but multifamily development compared to single family or commercial actually has a lower traffic impact than those preceding ones that I mentioned. So I did indicate we wanted to work with them. We also wanted to work with the property to our southeast to create a tie-in to Hickory Woods. But again, they were not willing to do that as well either, because they were in the middle of developing their site. And that's a commercial facility with heavy equipment coming in and out of the development. And then as I think it was the Meachams might have indicated, and I apologize because it wasn't for you, I'm just kind of trying to go off memory. A lot of the problem actually happens across Hurricane Creek in Murfreesboro County at that light that is not coordinated with the light that's at Laverne Couchville Pike.
Oh, that creates a nightmare. That one over in Laverne does.
Yes, sir.
And,
So-
and if you don't live in this subdivision, you have no idea what it's like trying to get out. First of all, you cannot get out during rush hour. You have to go over to Hobson Pike and then trying to get out on Hobson Pike with all the traffic coming down there to get to the light. Everything is backed up all the way to Nashville.
And this is gonna make it worse.
I concur.
Well, again, we're going to have to stagger. I mean, we're backing everything up onto our property, and if it's packed on Murfreesboro Pike going south into Rutherford County, our people, depending on how nice other drivers are at that point in time, they're the ones that are going to have to let people in. Now, if
Well,
we
what
had a
about-
light,
How are they gonna go north into
Yeah.
Murfreesboro Road?
How are the people going to go north, turn left there? You've
That's-
got a dedicated turn left lane, but how are people going to let them in?
well,
Without,
we
having-
hope
Mr. Bullock, do you hear what the question is, correct?
yes, ma'am.
Okay.
We can't
Because we were having several people talk at the same time. So I just want to make sure that the question was asked and then you were able to answer.
So the question I'm hearing to answer right now, to make sure everybody's clear, is how can we get people onto the pike if it's so backed up going north or going south? And the answer is, since we're not putting in a light, and we would not be permitted to put in a light because of our proximity to the light at Matco and the stop at Hickory Woods in Murfreesboro Pike, we can't control how they get onto it. So if people don't want to live in our development because it's too hard to get in and out, that's going to be something that we have to suffer with and we have to deal with. But our study and our data that we've done through market studies, through traffic impact analysis, we feel comfortable that people living in our community won't have a massive impact on the problems there already. But there is enough demand that people will want to live here because of the rents that we're offering compared to some of the higher rents that people are driving for these larger developments that are having more of an impact than we are. Again, it's 88 units. Peak hour, we're estimating over 3 hours, maybe 50 cars being added to the mix, but that's over 3 hours. So you're really looking at maybe 16, 17 cars an hour getting added to the mix between the hours of 7 and 10 a.m. and then between 4 and 7 p.m. at night.
Let me ask you this, and this is for my clarification as well. So evidently this was done, I think you said back in 2006. Evidently it wasn't brought to the community then for the conversations like having now. But since it has already gone through, are you at a point, because you have taken stuff to plan and you have done all this, are you at a point where you can make a lot of major changes now or not? Because that's the thing that I was saying. I don't want us to stress on things that if we can't change it or make revisions to it at this point. So let us know what is possible, please, and what is not, according to what you have already submitted and what has already gone through before we heard of any of this.
Yes, ma'am. So the zoning, obviously, as we've harped on a lot, and not to keep harping on it, it was done back in 2006, and there was community engagement at the time. But as everybody on this call knows, Nashville, Davidson County was a different county in 2006. It was nothing like it is right now. But the SP did have a lot of measures that were planning for future development. So these uses were contemplated, were considered. Now, because of where we're at, the tremendous growth that has been brought to Metro Davidson, Nashville, Davidson County, the suburbs are really feeling a lot of the tension that's created from unmitigated downtown growth and lack of public transportation in this region specifically. So it's still a car-dependent community. But what we've done is we have designed this site in accordance with all the current and modern requirements of Metro, and they drove a lot of the minor modifications that we were looking at. I mean, we were looking at originally taking our main ingress point and tying it into Matco's driveway and Hickory Woods and just providing right in and right out only along Murfreesboro Pike along the frontage as the SP called for. But again, when you can't for somebody to give you access to an existing curb cut, we had to do the best that we could, and that was allowable under the SP. So this is designed in accordance with all of the public works and transportation design requirements. And for us to go back and change it would not be feasible at this time, unfortunately. The things that we can change at this time would maybe be how some of the architectural like colors and products and materials would be selected, and maybe some of the landscaping that we're looking at. But overall, this is what Metro required of us to get a site plan approved so that we can pull a land disturbance permit.
Mr. Tab, let me ask for some clarification, please.
Yes,
What's
ma'am.
on the screen right now, I wish showed Hickory Woods Drive.
I'm
Do you have a view that actually shows where this ties into Hickory Woods Drive? Because my question is this: is this entranceway directly across from Hickory Woods Drive? And do I understand correctly that there will then be some ingress and egress into commercial developments from this same drive that's going to be directly across from Hickory Woods Drive? And what's currently on the screen appears to show the loss of a travel lane on Murfreesboro Road in order to add an additional turn lane if you're going northbound to turn left into this development. Is that accurate?
It's not. And I just changed the share screen to a Google Maps. Can everybody see this okay?
Yes.
Okay. So what you see, this red dot here, that is our site. And if I were to draw a line from here to here, and of course it's not coming up. Oh, there we go. This is our property line. And then if I were to draw another line, this is our ingress egress point. So this is where people are getting in and out. So this is Hickory Woods that you were asking about. We're not aligned with that. We tried to get aligned to that, but this property would not allow us. Laverne Couchville, we tried to come in here. We offered to do infrastructure improvements along here for Matco. They would not allow us to do that. The only other option was to come out and tie in directly to this for safety reasons. We are actually not getting rid of a northbound travel lane. This lane is going to stay intact here. What we're doing is we're going to create a turn lane that comes like this. It
Okay,
comes into our property.
So the people trying to exit from the Hickory Woods development are going to have to also contend with another lane across there that is for turning into your development. And do I understand correctly that there will also then be access to whatever the Bonzes end up doing commercially off of this same entrance?
Yes, ma'am. So the access to all these frontage lots will be off of this road that you saw in the previous site plan. So the curb cuts they have right now will be maintained for the single family residences. But if a commercial developer wants to come and buy, say, this lot right here and develop something on it, they are going to lose their curb cut from Metro, and they're going to be forced. This is going to be a public right of way here and here. They're going to be forced to have their cars come into this driveway and then to come out at the exact same location.
Okay, so it's not just 88 units. You can count on 2 cars a unit. It's also all the commercial traffic that's going to be using that ingress and egress onto Murfreesboro Road. And what we're trying to get you to understand is the impact that that's going to have trying to turn into Hickory Woods Drive just to the south.
Here.
And traffic studies notwithstanding, and I don't know if they were done during COVID or not, I don't think you understand how dadgum difficult it is to get in and out of there.
And you're talking about this left turn here, correct?
Left turn, right turn. It's whether people are trying to come home in the afternoon, trying to get out during the daytime. You can forget trying to turn left across Murfreesboro, which is why she just told you she has to go all the way down to Pinhook Hobson. I don't think you're understanding just how difficult that is and why it's even more serious if it's 88 units times 2 cars each unit plus commercial traffic. And we hope those commercial entities are successful, but that's going to be hundreds more cars coming and going, which is going to add to the traffic problem.
And like I said, right now, we're cranking about over 2,000 cars out of Hickory Woods today.
Plus the new division.
Right. And the traffic study we did was actually done in early 2019. So it was not done during the pandemic when there were less cars on the road. So we actually had pre-pandemic traffic levels that were being studied at that time.
Well, I feel better now then.
If I could add one thing, guys, TDOT actually has a monitoring station for traffic right there at the county line. And this year's count on vehicles running through this area daily is 30,854. So to back up what Tab's saying, I think you're looking at a very small increase in the amount of traffic. Even if it's 2 cars per unit, you're talking 172 cars, roughly 176 cars. When you're talking 31,000 overall, I think that difference would be minuscule. That you're correct that when you do put in commercial traffic, depending on what's there, it could increase it. But my guess is that commercial traffic, again, depending on what it is, would not necessarily be happening at rush hour.
Well, it's the turn lanes as well. You know, that presents an issue.
That would be wonderful news that it's only adding a little bit if it was the only development coming in, but
that's all we're doing.
Many.
Yes, ma'am. But I'll let the bond speak to their marketing efforts and when they plan on marketing this, if they want to, not to put you all on the spot. Unfortunately, their listing agent, Mr. Larry Beadle, rest his soul, he unfortunately passed away several months ago due to COVID complications. But they did have marketing plans for that. And they understood that a lot of our development would hinge upon the value of their frontage property. And so they understood that, but anyone that comes in and does that development, it's like it's free land. It's not free land, but it's land that can be bought and developed under the SP. If they try to change a potential use to what's not allowed in the SP, then they're going to have to come to you all and they're going to have to get your approval. And then it's going to be up to you to speak with people like Councilwoman Lee and just keep expressing those concerns. So we're not responsible for the commercial development. We're not buying the land from the bonds. We're not developing those front parcels. We're developing the housing that we feel is needed for that area at a rate that is not made available currently.
Well, you do know that going up Hickory Woods Drive there, the parcel on the corner on the right there, that's currently being developed as well. So we're adding.
We looked at that too back in 2018.
Adding even more traffic into that area now too.
It was part of, so if I'm going to zoom out and I'm going to show you kind of the area, let me clear my measurements here. What all was included in the SP basically ranged from here all the way to basically here. So it included all of this land. That was what was in the SP. And then pieces got built here. This got built, Matco got built. They completely took their property out of the zoning and they actually messed up a lot of what the SP intended. The SP wanted to create a walkable community, and that was creating commercial uses within mixed use, higher density developments. We're not that high density. I think we're like 16, 18 units an acre, somewhere around there. So very low density for what is being built elsewhere, even across the street at Life Care. But the reason our site plan had that kind of T configuration, and we had all the parking behind our buildings, was so that when people came to our development, they lived there, and then all the commercial serving uses were up front, but then you had all the roads and sidewalks and everything behind it, so people could walk to those commercial developments instead of getting their cars driving in and complicating the uses. But again, when small pieces started getting developed and started getting taken out of the SP, it lost its control that it was intending to create for the community. So spot development here and there that didn't go along with what was intended for the area, it didn't create the problems that are there now, what are happening now with the 30,000 cars. It's just not providing a solution that could help mitigate some of the future concerns. It can't bring in those commercial uses that would make people live and work in this area, Laverne, Couchville area, and have those uses that they can walk to get the cars off of the road. So that's kind of the situation that we're in right now, and we're trying to build a small part. And the reason that road that, remember, goes this way behind the Bonds property and in front of ours, that is a public right of way. So if something does happen to Matco and that building goes away, unfortunately, there'd be a lot of job losses for the area and commercial revenue coming to the area, but there will be that potential to tie that into our site and maybe provide some other commercial uses that can create a higher, more walkable community that was originally envisioned by the SP back in 2006.
I have one more comment about the traffic, and then I'll shut up so we can talk about something else. But your property abuts the Matco Tools property, and I'm still stuck on why it can't utilize the existing traffic light, even if it were an offset situation with that traffic light.
So TDOT will not allow, sorry to interrupt you, I apologize.
That's okay.
Were you done?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so TDOT, and this goes for pretty much all states, they will not allow commercial curb cuts within certain proximity to one another. And the Bonds and us figure that out the hard way, because if you recall, the Bonds property goes from here to here, and if you draw this line, let me draw that again real quick.
So does TDOT not have the authority to make Matco use a new access point onto a state highway?
They cannot.
Okay. All right.
There has to be a use. So if you a public serving use, and there isn't one right now. Even our development isn't a public serving use to cause that. So if you kind of look right now, you can see how this access drive is a little offset from the center of the property. We were forced to do that by Public Works and TDOT with Metro Planning, so that we did not end up having what the Bonds wanted, and we wanted as well too, because we felt it would provide the best use of these frontage parcels. We wanted it more aligned here, so that you had about 2.5 acres here and 2.5 acres there that could have a multitude of uses, instead of having one large parcel here and a smaller parcel there, which would limit their potential uses. But what that created is this difference here. You can't have that jot and have two curb cuts that don't align within 200 feet of one another. So with that being here, we had to put our curb cut here or here, but then we're 200 feet to there. That's not allowed. If we moved it to here, we probably would, but we would have been about 300 feet to that curb cut. And then you would have this land over here that's completely worthless. So the best option that we had, unfortunately, it was to bring it back here so that it aligned with the Life Care Center and the bridge at Hickory Woods. And that just provides safe ingress, egress for both sides of Murfreesboro Pike.
Well, all I've got to say is you need to come out here some morning when people are trying to go to work.
No, I understand that. And honestly, I sympathize with you. I live in Atlanta, right on 285 and Cobb Parkway 41. It's a nightmare to get onto, but there are a lot of traffic measures in place. There just aren't a lot right now that are synced together. And when you cross a county line like this, you've got two different entities controlling two lights, and they may get out of sync, and that's what ultimately causes a lot of the backup.
Oh, yeah, that's been a problem ever since they cut that new road in over there in Laverne.
This one right here, Laverne Couchville.
No, over across the county line in Laverne. On Murfreesboro Road.
This one here, yeah, near Shreedman Boulevard
Yeah.
or Waldron Road.
Yeah, yeah, they extended that road and put that light in, and when they did that, we have backups about a mile and a half every afternoon on Murfreesboro Road.
I understand.
One of the things that the residents at Hickory Woods often bemoaned was that there's a Walgreens just across Murfreesboro Road, and there's no way for them to get there safely. Sidewalks don't extend across the bridge, and there are no crosswalks. And we've talked for over half hour about the traffic issues. I would like to just see y'all put a traffic light in and a good crosswalk that would help Hickory Woods residents and the elderly folks at the bridge at Hickory Woods and life care traffics in and out. I don't think this is gonna be good for traffic, and there are other developments going in at the edge of the lake, further down Pinhook Road, further down Hickory Woods Drive, that is going to add more and more traffic funneling out in this little area. And if a signal light isn't done now, it won't ever be done. I would also suspect, since you're describing it as low to medium price point, you'll attract some of the people that work at those facilities to live there, because they don't get paid very well. So crosswalks really will be important for their safety as well.
On
Understood.
this street is a crosswalk, something that you all could put in?
To have a crosswalk, you have to have either a signalized, a signal or a traffic light to maintain that safety for residents. And right now, because you've got a light here, and then you've got this intersection, that would be too close to have a traffic light between Laverne, Couchville, Pike, and ours. You're right at 500 feet, and I can't remember what the number is, so I don't want to say something just to appease what I'm saying right now, but I think it might be a little too close. So I'm not going to say it has to be 500 feet or 600 feet. 500 feet doesn't help me. 600 feet helps me. I don't know. But to be honest, it's not in our budget to do something like that. We are putting in sidewalks along all public right-of-ways within our developments. And then, as I kind of indicated before, as the Bonds family sells their property and it becomes a commercial development that loses its curb cut, whoever that developer is going to have to extend the sidewalks that we're putting in that terminate right at our right in on that property and at our right out at the property. So we are bringing sidewalks out to Murfreesboro Pike, but since we're not developing the frontage, we don't have to put those sidewalks in right now. But to be honest, they don't go anywhere. They go to Matco. They would go to Matco, and then they would go in front of Equipment Share, and then they would stop at, we can't put it in front of Equipment Share because that's their property, and there are no sidewalks. I do not believe, and Mr. Bonds, Mr. Builder, Mr. Don, y'all correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think they ended up putting in sidewalks.
Yes, they did.
They did. Oh yeah, here you go. There they are. So we'll be tying in to this sidewalk here. So there will be, well, whoever develops this parcel with the bonds will connect this sidewalk to where ours will be right at this location right here where this sign is.
So you just said you won't put sidewalks along Murfreesboro Road because you don't have to, and that'll fall on someone else's shoulders. And you're not interested in doing a crosswalk because it's too far away. Although you don't have to put one that connects to your property, you can put one that is just down the road and makes it safer for residents. So what are you going to do for the community?
Well, getting the approvals to put in the crosswalks, that would be one step. We can look into it. I will look into it. But what will depend is if there are connection points to it. We can't afford to put in sidewalks all along the frontage property. By doing so, we would interfere with the curb cuts that are there right now, serving those single family homes. Can a car drive over a sidewalk? They can, but when that lot is developed, they're going to have to tear up whatever curb cut we put in. They're going to put in their curb, and then they're going to put in an 8-foot landscaping strip, and then they're going to put in another sidewalk. So any sidewalk that we put in, I hate to say it's a waste of money, but it's money that's going to be spent to fix a temporary issue that's going to get ripped up later on. So the development is hopefully forthcoming from the bonds, but we don't own the property. We'd have to get an easement from the bonds. I'm sure they would not mind if we did that. But like I indicated before, we are running tight on our budget. We have a lot of rock that's 2 to 4 feet underground that we're going to have to dig up and probably not blast. I think we can get a dozer in there, D10 with a claw, and scrape most of it up. But we've got a lot of site work, and we've got a lot of cut and fill that we've got to do on the property that's eating up a lot of our budget. And we're actually going before to the state governor's office to see if we can get any COVID relief funding from them. So we would love to put in a lot of these pedestrian friendly points that you all are inquiring about. And if we could, we would. I promise you we would, but we just don't, unfortunately, right now have the budget for that.
What approval do you lack?
None.
Then why are you here?
Just to let you know that what we're coming to develop.
It's a little bit late.
I'm sorry, they are here because something was coming, and people, when they see something coming, ask what is coming. So I wanted to make sure that you all knew what was coming. So I am the one, they didn't request to come in front of you all, I did. I was the one that said, I want you to come and present so that the constituents, when they see things going up, they'll know what it is. So that's why they're here.
Well, my apologies, Councilwoman. That did sound rude, and
No.
It is born out of frustration. But we're describing low rent housing and not doing sidewalks and not doing things that's going to build the area up. It is going to add to traffic issues, and it's just the Antioch community getting dumped on again.
Absolutely.
I totally understand where you all are coming from. Part of this was just so that you could see what was happening. I had a conversation with them before. That's why I wanted them to make sure to explain that this was already approved and that this was already coming. I asked them ahead of time because they were looking for different avenues to get some more money, because when they first started, things had gone up since then. And I asked the question because I already knew how our area has been impacted. I asked the question, well, if you can't find any right away or get that, what's going to happen? And so because I wanted to push that point. And I was told it's been approved, it's going up. What it may do is cause them to go some other places and have to borrow some money and make the rent and things higher than what they planned at first. But because everything, and I'm telling you, this was done like way back, because everything was already approved and it was in place and kind of already started, except for the breaking the ground, it was going to happen anyway. So I just wanted to make sure that you all saw. Right? I'm sorry?
That doesn't make it right, does it?
No, I didn't say it made it right. I'm just saying that it was coming, and I just wanted you all to see what was coming. That's all. This is just for you all to be able to see, ask questions, know what's going on. And I will always bring things to you all, or if you would rather them just to go up and not, because I don't think you want that either. And they need to hear your frustrations about what's going on, and if there is anything that they can change now. But that's the reason it was coming, and no, it does not make it right. It doesn't make adding to this right, but this is in there, and I thought you deserved the right to see what was coming.
Oh, and we appreciate that. Don't misunderstand that at all, but, well, never mind.
We should have had.
I mean, I hear your frustration. I know it's coming. And so that's what that is. It wasn't where, like some of the other pieces, you can say, this needs to go there. This needs to go there. You need to remove that. You need to do this. So that makes it better. And I wish that type of conversation had been had way back, because some of these changes may have been put in place then, but
Yeah,
it is what it is now.
This meeting should have been done back when they were trying to get this approved in
In
the first place.
2006, right, Antoinette?
Correct.
We,
Correct. So,
and as I indicated, just to kind of piggyback on what you all are saying, as I indicated from the very beginning, who I represent, we want to be a member of this community, and we want to be a good neighbor. And so I promise you that we're going to work with Councilwoman Lee and any contacts that we can have within planning department to say, what possibility is there for us to work with the county to see about some of these crosswalks, sidewalks that need to be in place to assist these people to have safer, easier ingress, egress, and to have walkability to services like the Walgreens across Hurricane Creek. We will do our part, and we will speak up on behalf of you from this meeting of what we heard, and we'll relay that, and we'll keep Councilwoman Lee abreast of that, so she knows that we're following through on our promises. And like I said, the Bond family have been members of that community for a long time. They've known about this, and they pushed a lot for what they wanted for the community, what they felt the community wanted. And we worked with them where we could. We fought over some things too. I'm not going to tell you a story, but I think at the end of the day, we came to a deal that we both felt comfortable with. But now I'm going to do my part to fight for you all with Metro to say, what can we do to help the people in this community, and how can we participate in that as well too, to make it a better neighborhood.
I kind of understand when you were talking about the lights, not being able to do that, but it seems to me like the crosswalk, why is that giving me so much trouble? The crosswalk is something that you all could do that would really help folks who have to walk across that street to get their medicine. Even if there isn't a light right there, anybody with some common sense should know they see somebody in a crosswalk to stop. And maybe later on, I can even talk Public Works and to put some kind of light or something there, because the crosswalk is already there and it's dangerous for people to cross without a light. But something needs to be in place, and I know that you all have already done this, and like you told me, it can go up now, but just hearing what's happening and that you will be putting things in other communities as well, and folks talk and council people talk, that to see if there is something that you can help with that.
That's her.
Okay.
And that being said, I'm going to ask if there is another quick question, because it is 3 minutes past closing time now.
Just a
Hey.
quick comment, which is I hope the Bonzes are able to repurpose or do something fantastic with that red barn. It would be awesome for it to somehow remain part of the community. It has seen a lot of change, and it's an awesome structure. Thank you.
Mhm.
Hey, Tab,
Yes, sir.
you said when we started the meeting that you were going to make your contact information available.
Okay. Yeah.
I was just about to put that in the chat, in my mind.
I would
So,
greatly appreciate that.
You doing? Okay. Thanks, Jay.
The crosswalk that you're talking about to get to Walgreens, that was our property also, but that is in Rutherford County. The crosswalk you're looking at Couchville Pike doesn't get, the Walgreens is not across the street from that.
It's in Laverne. Rutherford County controls that, and it controls the light. So you get, if you want a light situation better, somebody with Metro needs to contact Rutherford County and get that changed with the city of Laverne and Walden Road.
And we donated that land that Walden Road is
Yeah.
on.
Where the
We
Walden
didn't sell that land. My grandfather donated that land to the city of Laverne.
That don't do us any good.
Well, it don't,
It does you good if you use Walden Road.
you wouldn't have no exit.
I think what the bonds are saying, sorry if I broke up there, is we as a community should be reaching out to both Metro and Davidson County and Rutherford County, and squeaky wheels get the oil. Let them hear the squeak of the traffic problems that are happening because of the non-communication between the Waldron Road red light and Murfreesboro Pike red light and the Laverne Couchville Pike red light, and figuring out a way to make that area move a little bit more smoothly. And because you've got a family that has done a lot for the community already in the Bonds family, they stepped up when we were having problems early on with Metro and said, we'll go in there and we'll do what we can to help you get some action. And they did. They stepped up. They went to some of the original meetings with us. We'll do the same. We'll step up and we'll go to the meetings with you all with Metro. We'll talk on our own to Metro and say, these are concerns that your constituents have. Sorry, Councilwoman Lee knows what the concerns her constituents have, but letting Metro Planning know these are what your citizens and residents need in this area of your community.
Well, the bottom line is to shove something like this into an already congested area does nothing positive.
We would say that it provides you the much needed housing for the population that's not being served currently. And that's the greater community benefit that we feel and why we do what we do and work so hard to make that a possibility.
Well,
Okay, so we are coming from two separate ends, so we know you all are not going to agree on that, but it is 7 minutes after 7 now. The address was put in the chat. If you haven't gotten that and you want to get that before Rosie closes the whole thing down, you may want to look and get that. I want to say thank you for all those that were able to join us, because I know that this was a very busy night and a lot of different things were happening tonight. Excuse me. So I want to thank you for that. I also want to say that I wish you all a very happy holiday that's coming up. No matter what your belief is, that's a time for you to appreciate those that you care about, those that you love, those that you could spend time with. So I hope you all do that in a safe and happy manner. Merry Christmas or whatever you celebrate to you during this time. I would like to thank you all, Tab, for coming to share that with us, and we're going to hold you into talking to see what you can do to help mitigate some of the problems that you were hearing. I know some that you can't, but what you can do, because I think you probably heard some things this time that you didn't hear before. So I want to thank you all so much. Have a great night. Good night, and thank you, Rosie. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Take care. Stop the share.
We're gonna do it anyway, but at least we can.